gosh, I'm so excited for you guys to hear this week's episode. We covered a lot. Megan Renihan is back in the house because she is killing it on Instagram Reels. She has incorporated Pioneer Joe as a central point, and it's really doing well. You guys, she's really creating connections with her students. And that is something many of us long for. And this Instagram Reels, it's like TikTok, but it's on Instagram. We're going to really talk about why she decided to use Instagram Reels over a TikTok channel. She's going to share some tips around consistency and hashtags and trending sounds. She's going to give some valuable tips about collaborating with other accounts and exactly what that means. And then just give a lot of examples. You're going to want to go to Batesville's Instagram page and check out some of these reels, possibly before you listen to this, but definitely after you listen to it, because you're going to be inspired. You guys, the world needs more positive short form video content from schools like this. And this might be the tipping point to get you started. And so I'm just so excited to share Megan with you and their whole strategy on Instagram Reels. By the way, Megan is part of our membership program, and they've been a part of it. We do a lot of training. We try to push people out of their comfort zone. And Megan said, hey, we really leaned into this because you really pushed us. And so I don't do the work. A lot of times I'm just providing the space and the community and the encouragement to try some of these new things. And then you guys take over from there and do things brilliant like this. But you guys, if you want a community that supports you, that encourages you, that inspires you, pushes you out of your comfort zone, and you want a little more of that training, then you need to join our membership group. It's a very low cost for a whole year. You can have up to 3 people join. Check out my website, socialschool4edu.com. You can sign up right there. You don't pay with a credit card. You get to pay afterwards. You can just get signed up. You can join hundreds and hundreds of other schools that are already there. It's the best way that I have to support and help you grow. But again, so excited for you to learn from Megan today. So before I get to that, let's get to this week's K-12 PR tip. All right, today's K-12 PR tip is all about getting more reach on your Instagram posts, Instagram Reels. You guys, Instagram provides a collab feature, which means that you can actually collaborate with other Instagram accounts. And when you publish your content, they will accept that. And that same content is going to be published on their page in addition to your page. And the metrics are going to be shared with both pages. So it's a great way to reach more people. Now, Megan's going to talk about how she's done that with their high school versus district account. So they've been collaborating there. But you guys, you can also collaborate with business partnerships, okay? With other organizations that are connected to your school, where if you put out content that relates to them, you could collaborate with them and get even more views, all right? We're all about working smarter, not harder. And the collab feature could be something like that. So check it out, learn more about it, collaborate on Instagram. It would be great. Now you're going to hear a ton of great inspiration of using Instagram Reels. I'm so excited for you to learn from Megan Renihan from Batesville School District. All right, we've got Megan Renihan back in the house. How are you, Megan?
I'm doing great, Andrea. How are you?
I'm really good. So excited to have you on today. We have a very special episode focused on Instagram Reels and what you guys are doing there in Batesville that's really unique, really creative, and generating some buzz at your school. So first off, everybody can meet and learn more about Megan and Batesville in episode 115, but just share, introduce yourself, just a little background to get started.
Sure. Well, it's such an honor to get to be back. This is the beginning of my 5th year at the Batesville School District as a communications coordinator, and it has been such a ride. The goal from the very beginning of whenever I started the Batesville School District was to not only engage our stakeholders and our community and the parents, but to really connect with the students. And Instagram Reels has really given us that platform to get the kids involved and also get them excited about, hey, what are we going to be doing next? And in order to make that happen, I was trying to figure out ways to get them involved in something that they thought was popular. Well, we had talked about starting a TikTok, but that wasn't a good idea for us. We already had an established Instagram account with a following, and so we just tossed around the idea of, making Reels the focal point of where our students can go to. And then when we got connected with you and you had all those wonderful tips, I thought, let's revive the pride of being a pioneer and make it revolve around our mascot. And in doing so, it made it to where it doesn't matter if I'm in the suit, if a student is in the suit, if it's, a different kid each time. They fight over who gets to be in the suit now. And I'm so excited because we are just taking what is trending and popular and clean and applying it to where the kids want to be involved with that, as I said, for these reels. So that's just been a really positive thing for us.
Yeah. And you're using it in a very creative way, but also telling stories and celebrating your school. So it's more than just what's trending. There's a lot of purpose behind it. And that's why I really wanted to have you on. So we have linked your Instagram page here in addition to some of your other social channels. But today, if you're looking at Instagram Reels and thinking, gosh, I think we should get into this, I think this angle could be something that you're like, okay, I got this, because now I don't have to think of not necessarily something brand new every single time. It's got a similar element in that you're incorporating the mascot. But let me just back up a little bit. So you kind of already shared why you're using Reels. You were looking at TikTok, you already had an Instagram channel. That's how I kind of describe Instagram Reels. It's like TikTok, but it's on Instagram. So you already have an audience there. What, as far as the reach and the following, and what are some of maybe the whys with Reels if somebody's like on the fence? I don't know if I should be using Reels. What has it done for Batesville?
Sure. Well, just comparing the analytics of before we were utilizing video content in that capacity, we might only get 10 or 15 likes for a graphic, for instance, that we spend time and effort in designing. And instead we thought, well, let's make it to where it's Pioneer Joe delivering the message. And then it's backed with like a fun trend, as you said. And, one of the things that we did that was really, really good was during September for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, we had the idea to have it like Pioneer Joe's working out to keep up with the toughest kids on campus. And so we had it revolve around that. And we had him doing all these funny things and tackling stuff. And then we had the announcement for we would be recognizing our students who are survivors and have passed, and just this beautiful statement. And then we let that video be the way that we made the announcement. And people were just so appreciative for that connection. And it was a way to not make it the focal point on the students, because not everyone wants that recognition. That's a really difficult time for people. But we just tried to make it a positive spin on something. And then, what's great to me now is I can be walking down the hallway at the high school, or I can pop in over to another classroom and the teachers say, what are you going to do next? Or I have kids that say, hey, I have a great idea. Can we do this? And I say, get with your class sponsor or, whoever the club coach is. And then, let's set up a time and do it. And so I'm just so thankful that it's been received well. And another thing to consider with why Reels and why Instagram is such a good idea, TikTok doesn't have parental controls. And so that was something that was very important to us, as well as our board of directors, was we wanted to have a safe platform for our parents to be able to monitor and control what our students were seeing. We know that our content is going to be clean and safe, but what they might see on TikTok that follows that might not be something the parents want them to be able to view. So at least with utilizing Instagram, it's a program and a platform that the parents can feel comfortable with their child being on.
Yeah, definitely. That's really well put. As far as your follows and the views that you've seen on Instagram, some of your metrics, has that been positive?
Okay, so I'm so excited about you asking that. So we've seen like an increase of over 100 follows. And something that's really different about Facebook than Instagram is you can prompt someone and invite them to follow and like your page. Whereas in Instagram, you don't have that opportunity. So what I love seeing whenever I have notifications is you'll see the same profile, like, follow. So that's when we know that we've got them. And so I'm really appreciative for that, because the other day we actually had a video that got 27,316 plays. And that was fantastic. It was 5 seconds long. It was something we did to announce the volleyball team senior nights. And it's had 2,033 likes so far, and it's had 147 shares and 148 bookmarks. So you can see the tracking of that, and it's been very exciting. Within the hour we posted it, it had 20,000 views. And I was like, holy cow, that blew up. And we had no idea it was going to do that well. Now, what I would give you as far as some recommendations to help with your content: consistency. You need to be posting regularly. One of the things that we do whenever my assistant and I are planning to, create content actually for the month, we schedule one day and I go and I get in the Pioneer Joe suit and I'm in it all day long. And we think about, the announcements, like the calendar that you've provided for us to celebrate different things throughout the month with education. What's something that we can hit with this that would be so fun and so great? So we just kind of schedule out, and I have in my drafts 5 or 6 at all times. That way, every single week I can at least release one. And then in between that, if there's, choir got all region, our specialty choir got all region, every single student's received that of the 12. So we did a special, 10-year anniversary lip dub from Pitch Perfect, and that's got a ton of views as well. So it's just about being strategic and consistent. And then also be sure and not only use your hashtags for your school, but I think it's really important to use like hashtag viral reels, hashtag viral, FYP, follow us, trending, because those are the things that people are clicking on consistently to see what it is that is popular. And then on top of that, using trending sounds. So whatever it is that is popular on TikTok or popular on Instagram, you can take that. It's just like national news localizing a story. That's what every reporter always tries to do. So I just try to take trending content and localize it to our campus of what's going on. And one of the things that I found really helpful, go and watch Benny the Bull. He is so awesome for the Chicago Bulls. I go and look. That's kind of how the idea spawned, was from looking at mascots that already have a platform on a huge NBA or NFL platform and what they're doing, and then just translating that, like I said, to a local level.
Yeah. Oh, that's great advice. So obviously it's doing big things. It's adding followers. It's getting that engagement. You're going out and like, what are you going to do next? You've just shared 3 big tips when it comes to Instagram Reels. You said consistency. So maybe once a week would be a great goal. Hashtags. And then you mentioned trending sounds. And what can you describe how you find the trending sounds for our listeners? Because they may be like, yeah, that's great that, try to use something trending, but how do I even know if something's trending? So can you explain that?
So I just get with the kids. The kids know what's popular. And if this is for them, we obviously want to do things that they want to be involved with. I don't ever want to take an idea and say, hey, like y'all are going to do this. I want it to come from the students. The students are the biggest and best resource for making that happen. So go to your kids, find out what's popular. I am on TikTok myself. And so I just go through, and if there's something that has 2 or 3 million views, I go and I click on that sound and see what other people have utilized that for. And you can really tell what's hot and what's popular. Well, then I go and I look up the same sound on Instagram and see if it's popular as well. It might not be quite as popular, but the thing is, that means you're ahead of the trend on Reels. So I just translate that sound over and utilize it, and then bam. I mean, sometimes it's a flop. It might not get as many views, but it's part of that consistency, and you can't let that stop you and stifle you, because We have been doing this for 3 or 4 months now, and we've just now had our first one that's really, really gotten a lot of views. But I'm telling you, every one that we've done before, the people in our community care. And that's what they're talking about is we love the involvement for our kids. We love that you're making Pioneer Joe the focal point, and we love seeing something that's positive. And that's the most important thing that I've taken away from being a part of your program is push out the positive. What is it that we have going on that's great? There is so many good things going on in our school district, and just like others. And some days are going to be hard, but you never know what it is that's going to spark people's, oh my gosh, that's so fantastic. I've got to share that with Andrea because I know it's going to make her laugh. So just trying to be the positivity is really one of the biggest encouragements that I can give you, because you never know what people are going through, whether you're a parent in the community or you're a student. If that's that one thing that you get to be involved with, or you get to press that button and share or like, I just want people to know that you can be that person in your community as the communications director or as the person that manages their social media to make that difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Megan's a superstar, and she had shared what she was doing in what she's talking about is our membership program. So we have that, hundreds of schools are in there, but as soon as you shared that, I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to get this out to more folks. So that's why I wanted to really dive deep into kind of how you're doing all of this. But I think it's so true. It's that positivity spark. You've really done a good job of like using it in different avenues. It's not just sports, and it's not just extracurriculars. It's, other recognitions. So you mentioned Benny the Bull as some inspiration. You consume some TikTok yourself so that you can kind of see what's trending. Just as a note too, and we've done some more in-depth training inside of our membership group. I've also gone out to some School Public Relations Association, and I'm heading out again this fall, and I will be this spring, of just showing people how to do reels, because reels are intimidating to begin with, but they're really not that hard. They're kind of a really neat tool. And one other way of just knowing some of those trending sounds is if you're watching Instagram reels, right next to the audio, it'll have a little up arrow that will basically tell you that it's already trending. You can easily save that audio onto your school's page, and then you can end up using it. So it makes it very, very easy. But I love your recommendation too, of just asking the kids. And you're obviously spending some time and have kind of bought into this because you kind of set aside a day. So can you just talk about the process, like the ideation, the filming, the editing? Just how does that all work?
Yeah, absolutely. So generally it's kind of in my free time, when you're scrolling in the evenings, I just kind of spend some time just looking at what is popular, what is trending, and then start thinking about how I can connect that to our students. And it might even be like a text message to a club sponsor of, hey, this would be a great idea for us to showcase the officers for Beta Club, or introducing our soccer lineup, or, what can we do for senior night that's going to get to see all the faces? Because so many times the trends are, going to be something with very few faces of dances. So I try to look at things that we can include multiple students in, because it's never just about two students. It's a team effort. So I try to look at things that can involve multiple people and multiple kids, unless it's just a general announcement where Pioneer Joe's the only one that's needed. And then it's a faceless thing. Any and everyone is a pioneer. You know what I mean? Like, we're all pioneers. We like to take pride in that. So I try to find content. And then as far as scheduling and planning, if I want to go to a specific campus, then I contact that building administrator and I just say, hey, Pioneer Joe would like to come on campus. They get really excited. A great example is I went to the preschool and I wanted to show the before and after school care, and then our infant and toddler care programs, and just kind of walk around and show Pioneer Joe being active with the kids. So he rocked babies, he read books. We went into classrooms and we did Ring Around the Rosies. We marched to music, and it was just a great experience for the kids because they don't have that visit very often. It's not until they get into, elementary, middle school, until they start getting to participate and go to those sort of events. So just getting the idea instilled early on that Pioneer Joe is our mascot and he is a big deal, and instilling that sense of pride and, what we are and what we stand for is something that can be done very easily. And then, I went down a slide and played around on the playground. I hula hooped with the kids. And for some of them, it was their first interaction. And for others, it wasn't me in the suit the last time they saw them, but it was the symbolization of what it stood for. So just thinking about how you can involve multiple people is also another big takeaway from it. But we go and we shoot the video, right? I shoot it on my phone. I don't shoot it in Reels immediately. I just get out my regular camera. Sometimes it's on a tripod. So if you have a phone tripod, I would highly recommend you getting one. They're like $30 on Amazon. You can get one with a ring light if you'd like to as well. I just think it's a good idea to have the options depending upon the lighting. I have a broadcast journalism degree, so I know how to use very expensive camera equipment. I shoot everything I do off of my phone though. That's why the Reels is so fantastic, is because you don't have to be or have the most expensive equipment. And then secondly, I shoot everything in increments and I edit it on the backside so that I know what clips and how long that they're going to be and when I want them to cut on that portion. And then whenever I go to actually produce it inside of Reels, I have my sound, and then I just have it and stitch it all together by adding the video selection. The other thing that's really helpful, especially if there's music, have a speaker that's playing the music so the kids know how to do the dance moves, because then you're going to lower your audio from your natural sound and you're going to cover it up with the trending sound. And then you just have to mash up two lines really of audio in order to make that. So it makes it very easy and very consistent. And something that I've found is you can actually be inside of Reels and it close out your project, and you don't want it to happen and you lose all of your footage. So I've learned that the hard way, and I'm just hoping that you will take that advice. So definitely shoot all your stuff just off of your standard camera and then roll from there.
Yeah, and you definitely want to do it in vertical mode, because that's what Instagram Reels are. So grab that. And if you ever, I mean, you obviously can put pictures in with videos, and so that's good too, but they should all definitely be vertical, and then you can do all the editing. I love the suggestion. So if you know you're doing a certain song to a certain part, you can play that song out maybe on another device while you're videotaping, so that the kids can interact as if the song's playing, and then you're going to override it with the sound that comes through from Instagram.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to explain that properly. And so right now with your method, you've got to have somebody that's filming and then somebody that's inside of the suit. What I really like about this whole concept is, you describing that before and after care school program. It's like, it's a behind the scenes, what it's like at our school. You're not having to necessarily narrate, because your mascot is there. So it's like, this is what it's like. I mean, obviously there are ways that you can put words on Reels and, all of those other things. But it's just, this is part of who we are. And that just lends itself to so many opportunities, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And, like you said, putting words over the top of it. When we release this reel, our thought process is everyone knows the book If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Okay, so our thought process is, if you take a pioneer to a preschool, he's going to want to rock babies. He's going to want to hula hoop on the playground. He's going to want to go down the slide. So we already have ideas about how we're going to translate that story to a relatable, well-known book that everyone loves, that we can use the hashtag on to also increase our opportunities for that exposure.
Okay, so you use the hashtag of the book name to help.
Yeah. And also tagging, like whenever we did the one with our choir group for Pitch Perfect, I mean, who knows if they were going to see it? I tagged the people, I tagged those well-known names and faces, because they might be on there and say, hey, you know what, that's really cool, we're going to share that, and then bam, you go from getting some views to a whole lot of views. So don't be afraid to put yourselves out there, because it only takes one time of someone that's famous seeing them take something that they were passionate and cared about and recognizing that it was the 10-year anniversary for it, and then sharing and hitting that button. So I just think it's all about, utilizing the tools. That tag option is there for a reason. That collaboration option is there for a reason. Collaborating with our high school whenever it's at the high school. Have you utilized that as well, Andrea?
I haven't. We work with a lot of smaller school districts, so they don't necessarily
Mhm.
have other pages. So why don't you describe what that
Yeah,
collaboration is?
so it's actually something that the high school social media manager showed me. So whenever you go on to make and finalize your post, you can actually tag people. It also has a collaborate button. Well, our high school has an Instagram account solely and independently for all their announcements. And she said, "Oh, just collaborate with me." And I thought, well, that's a very specific word. And so I asked her what it meant. And it means that whenever I collaborate with her and I tag her page in it, it will automatically prompt it on her social media page when she accepts that invitation. So it pulls the analytics from two locations into one. And so it gives exposure for two separate audiences. She has more of the kids on her page than I do on mine. I have a lot of parents. So then whenever you marry those two together, you have a better opportunity of, your likes and your shares and your, views and stuff. So I think that it's really smart for us to be able to utilize that. Now, not all of my campuses have an Instagram page, but whenever we do it involving the high school, I make an effort to do that. And I think it's a great idea. I think that if you have that chance, you should do it. If you are utilizing, a sponsorship within your community, like our banks are so involved with our school districts, I think you need to invite them to collaborate. And if they don't know how to do that, teach them, show them, because that's a great tool for your partners, and it's only going to help their audience just as much as yours.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it was going through my head. It's like, well, okay, if you don't have school accounts, maybe there's some of those business partnerships. If they have an Instagram page, hey, why not? And start to teach them a little more about the social media tricks as well. I love it. Everybody listening, you need to go to Batesville's page. You need to consume some of these. Some of them, like your choir one, I didn't even know that your Pioneer Joe was going to be in it, but you watch it and then you get mesmerized because the students are singing. And of course, I'm a huge Pitch Perfect fan.
Right?
Having two daughters, it's like, when the 3 episodes are on in a row, it's just like you just have to sit and watch all of them.
Sure.
Um, but then all of a sudden they get into the upbeat stuff, and okay, here comes like the lights, and the lights dim down and they got the flashlights on, and it's just a really cool experience. I think the biggest win, and of course going viral, awesome. Like, yeah, you're getting more
Sure.
views, but the biggest win, you guys, is those connections that you're making with your students. It's that, oh my gosh, I wonder what they're going to do next. It's
Yes.
getting out to the schools and getting that excitement. I mean, and I just think that coming up with a theme like this, where you've got a central kind of character, makes it just so much easier for folks, because they're just thinking, and I use that word folks way too much. I've it's a Wisconsin girl in me, I guess. But people are struggling, like, oh gosh, if I did something every week, I'm not sure. The other suggestion that I like with yours is you kind of try to take one day a month and think about those next 4 videos that you could have saved as a draft, so that you can publish them when the time is right. But you're not out making a reel every single week. You're
Right.
trying to kind of batch those together and create them
Mhm.
at once, so that you can, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that logistically it works for our schedule. I also try to be really respectful to my other campus managers. They don't have the freedom that I do to just go and, run around on the campus all day. And so I try to be respectful and conscientious of that, because they're teachers and they're counselors, and I wouldn't expect them to just drop what they're doing and get a sub. And so I try to also work on their schedule, because I want them to know that I'm a team player, and that I'm not just floating around there, running around playing in a Pioneer Joe suit and costume all day, whenever I want to. Because I mean, if I wanted to, I could make content every single day and make that the focal point, but I have other things that take a priority. And I know that social media isn't the only thing that's our job. And so I try to be really conscientious and respectful of that, and just dedicate one solid day out of the month to announce, hey, we're going to be shooting XYZ. We would like for you to be involved. And then bam, I'm done for the month. I just create them all in the afternoon or in the evening. They're in my drafts and they're ready to punch up and go. And then if something does pop up, then I am available. I can make that work around my schedule. But I have a really sense of urgency to be very considerate of the other people at our district that don't have that flexibility to get up and go to the restroom when they want, or don't have the opportunity to go grab lunch out whenever they want because they have students. So I try to really be considerate of that and conscientious, and make my schedule very instinct with theirs, because I can run around and do that stuff whenever I want to, but I don't want also to be seen like, oh, well, she's just out there playing. Yes, I am. I'm definitely out there playing, but not everyone gets to be involved with it. And so I try to bring that fun to their classroom, and so that they can be involved whenever I'm available to do so.
Have you gotten some requests then from organizations or classes or schools that are like, hey, we've got this coming up. Could you come and do something for this?
Absolutely. And that's what I love. I actually missed one week, and I heard about that more than anything. People were like, why didn't you post a video? We've been looking forward to it. Or the who is Pioneer Joe was also the big thing. And so I kind of like it being a secret. I like it to be the unexpected. And I love that they're asking, what are you going to do next? I think that makes it really exciting and fun. And people are intentionally, like on Snapchat, whenever it shows people picking over, like, ooh, they're waiting for you to respond. I like to think that that's what people are doing on our Instagram page now. I like to think that they're waiting to see what we do next and want to be involved with that. And they do send me suggestions, and I love that. It's so much fun to know that people are being more conscientious and seeing that this is effective and wanting to be a part of that. I actually got a message, one of my really good friends, she is in the self-contained classroom with some of our students that just need that around the clock care. And one of the things that they do is they wrap Christmas presents as a project. And she said, oh my gosh, Megan, we are loving Pioneer Joe. We actually make an effort to watch those with our classroom and our students every single week, because we want them to get to be a part of something. She said, is there any way that Pioneer Joe could come to our classroom to help support this project we have coming up? And I said, absolutely. I've already got some great ideas, and she is extremely creative and has a TikTok account herself. And so I know that she's already on the prowl looking, but just thinking outside the box, we don't need to forget about our students that might not, like you said, be in athletics, and they might not be the ones that are showcased and seen a lot, but we also need to think about the inclusion standpoint. One of the efforts I try to make as a communications coordinator is, diversity and inclusion, and being present with everyone that I can. And yes, you're only one person, but it's about being intentional with the time that you do have and what you do showcase.
Yeah, absolutely. And every reel that you share on your page does not include Pioneer Joe. I know you used reels in a unique way. I think with some of your homecoming queen candidates?
Yes, yeah. So we utilize that to showcase each of the individuals, because some of the seniors, we have like 900 kids at the high school. Well, the entire high school votes on who they think that the homecoming queen should be. Well, they might not have connected with those ladies before. And so it's just a really quick and easy way for me to set up a camera. And I actually shot it off of like a Canon T7i, but then I just changed the dimensions inside of Final Cut. I'm not sure if anyone is savvy with video, but I just changed the dimensions to vertical inside of Final Cut, and then requested for each of the young ladies to send me some photos of them so they didn't have to be up the whole time. And then they just got to tell, why that they think they should be homecoming queen. And then during our advisory time, which is every single day for 40 minutes, on 2 of those days, they showed those videos so that there was 2 opportunities for the kids to see them, and then they were able to vote for who they thought homecoming queen should be. So,
Okay.
and then the community also gets to see, the kids love getting to kind of get to be out there, because not everyone can attend the pep rally and the parade that we do and then the game that night. But the grandparents that are from other states had an opportunity to see their granddaughters in such a beautiful format. And so that was great for us to get to share.
Yeah. Yeah. I just really wanted to make the note because it's like, it doesn't mean you're tied into every single
Yeah.
reel that needs to be made this way. As I always say, and I should have said at the beginning, if you don't have the capacity to do this once a week, maybe try once a month.
Sure.
Or consider getting some help in regards to doing this. Here at Social School for EDU, we just try to share what is cool, what's working, what's making those connections. And you really set it off right at the beginning, Megan, with, hey, we've always wanted to engage our stakeholders and our parents and our community, but we've also really wanted to engage your students. And do you feel like this has been the best way since you've been there the last 5 years that you've really focused in on that connection with students?
Yeah, I think that it's finally what's working for us. We of course have always asked kids, hey, share the event post and make sure that you tell your friends. And they're kind of like, yeah, Megan, we're going to be there, like we're playing, that sort of thing. But getting them involved in this capacity, and I think that the driving force is you're doing something they're already doing, that they're already interested in, and then you're taking it and making it something that is informative and descriptive and timely, all of those things wrapped into entertainment, really. So I think that that's been our bread and butter. Is the kids are excited about it and they look forward to it. And I never know what we're going to do next, but I leave that up to the trends.
Right. So what advice would you have to someone who kind of wants to jump into an Instagram reel strategy like this? Like, what would be your little, like, 2 or 3 pieces of advice for them?
Sure. It took time for us to do this. Like, I had this on my to-do list for about 2 years, to be honest with you. It was something that I just didn't have the time to do because I was so tied up with all the daily monotonous tasks. And I would definitely advise to get help. Whether it's someone who manages the social media at your account, if you do a monthly meeting with your people, if you have an assistant. I didn't have an assistant until this year, and that's really been what has made all of this possible, is having that extra, person beside me, knowing that I have someone to depend on to help support me in this process. And I mean, it's something that I was like, oh, we need to do this right now 2 years ago, and it's just now happening. So don't be discouraged if your timeline looks a little different than what you appear and what you think mine is. Because you might think by looking at our Instagram, oh, well, they've only been doing this for 4 months. This has been a thought in the works for several years now, but it hasn't come into fruition until now. So don't be discouraged. I mean, it's so easy, even on a personal basis, to get caught up and see people success in the things they're doing. So I wouldn't compare yourself to any other campus and what any other school's doing, because what you do every single day matters. And it took a long time for me to have the time to do this, but having a schedule and having help and support, and then just finding what your campus niche is. It might not be your mascot. It might be your building principal, or it might be, students inside of your student council. You just need to find what it is that works for your campus, because it's going to look different than mine. And just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong, because I guarantee you, whenever I see people that are following us, the first thing that I do is I go on their page and I want to see what you're doing, because I'm excited to know that people are, passionate about what they do every day, and they're interested in what we're doing. And for as much as we're doing right, there's someone else that's doing something just equally as great.
Yeah. Definitely. Love it. Great advice. You're listening to this in late 2022. This might be something that you really put on the docket for next school year, of really
Yeah.
trying to carve out that time. So don't feel like all of a sudden you have to drop everything. I think that was really helpful advice, Megan. What's the best way to stay connected to you?
Sure. So I would say my email, and then also just following us on our pages. If anyone ever has any questions, I make myself very available. My email, Andrea, do you have that to where you can
I
provide it?
do, but why don't you tell everybody just what it is?
Yeah. So it's M Renihan, Renihan, at go, B as in boy, S as in Sam, D as in David, the number 1.org. So you are more than welcome to email me. I am very, very available, and I want to see you succeed. And if anyone has any questions or would like to kind of see the behind the scenes side, I think that that's another thing. You need to share the bloopers. The bloopers are fun. They're great. It's really probably what the kids enjoy the most about the entire project. So don't be afraid to share things that don't go right, because that's whenever the kids are really going to get excited. Is, oh my gosh, did you see the video of a defense one where the boys were out on the football field?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the kid asked me at the very beginning of the project. He said, Miss Megan, can I tackle Pioneer Joe? And I said, absolutely not at 5 minutes, because I'm 31 and I don't want to get hurt. And I said, but if one of your buddies is cool with it, just don't hurt anyone. So when we had the completed video, I stitched it with the blooper reel. And the kids were more excited about the blooper reel with it, where he got to tackle the Pioneer Joe mascot, than they were about anything. And so that's what they said. Hey, make sure you watch the whole video. I didn't have to ask people to stick around for the 20-second video. They were telling everyone the last 5 seconds are the best part.
Right.
So it was kind of that campaigning, internally, that I didn't even have to help promote anything or to go around and do it by mouth. The kids did all the work for me on that. So that's the other thing, is when they're excited and passionate about something, they're going to say that. And I love now walking around campus, and it's just this unspoken thing that you have with these students, where they know you care because you show up in that capacity and you're making an effort to make a connection with something that they're interested in. It's great to ask about kids' grades, and it's great to ask about, like, how are things going? But now they know me. And it's so funny. I was at a ball game the other night, and they said, Miss Megan, come over here. You're going to miss this. Get your camera out. And I love that, because now they know that whatever I'm doing is going to be seen,
Right.
and so they make an effort to connect with me. And so that, because they're hams, all of them are. It doesn't matter who they are. Those kids are hams, and they just like being visible. So I'm just thankful that they've bought into it, and now the rest of it will take care of itself.
That's awesome. So we're linking to your Instagram page. Go to their reels. I'll grab a couple of those specific reels that you suggested and put those in the show notes. Check it out. Consider it, guys. Maybe you do one video, try it out. Again, you've given a lot of great advice, not giving up, and some are going to, reach a lot of people. Some aren't. And sometimes you just don't know what's going to happen, but you're putting it out there. You're making real connections with your students. And I'm just so, so proud of the work that you're doing, Megan. So keep it up. It's super inspiring.
Thank you so much for having me. And all of it spurred from you pushing us to try reels. I think that was really the tipping scale for us, was, this is working, and what you're talking about is effective. And I think that consistency and just having that confidence and help was the biggest thing for us. So thank you so much for your encouragement.
Yeah. Well, you guys do all the work, and then I just get to sit back and enjoy all of it. So keep it up. And thank you guys for listening today. If you end up creating a great reel, make sure that you email me or tag me and make sure that I know about it. We love sharing the great things schools are doing. So everybody, we will see you next time. Thanks so much, Megan. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.